I just like a couple of months ago, a black woman on TikTok had said something about me, and I made a video in response to her, and that was misogyny because I didn't make no video responses for knuckleheads like him.
What did she
because
say?
I didn't make because knuckleheads like this guy have been bothering me forever, and I've never made a response video.
No.
So what she's saying is that because she responded to a woman that had an opinion regarding her ridiculous brick situation, that is misogyny.
God damn.
First and foremost, shout out to the queen of accountability, the celebrity podcast right up here on YouTube for giving us yet another update to the Roda Brickface Osman situation. If you're unfamiliar, she was the lovely young lady that claimed that she got hit in the face with a brick as other black men stood back and watched her, if not laughed at her, then created a GoFundMe generating over $40,000 and then came under scrutiny for potential fraud. Now she's being charged for it. I wanted to go up this quick update in regards to what's going on with her case, because so many of you guys continue to ask me. The Roda case is coming to a close soon. They're in the final phase. Her next court date, she can plea or go to trial, or the case could get dismissed. The courts have given her 2 court dates, one for the felony theft, the $40,000 for the GoFundMe, and then the other one is the misdemeanor for giving a false name to a peace officer, right? The 2 cases, one is going to be on the 7th of January, and the other one's going to be on the 8th of January. It's going to be an interesting 2 days for her. Both are criminal cases. In Texas, if she goes to trial and she loses, she will face 2 to 10 years for the fraud, right? Because we determined that it was $40,000 worth of fraud is a felony. If she loses her misdemeanor case for giving the false name, she could face up to 180 days in jail, all right? Now, within that, she was already on probation as a lengthy criminal record. If she goes to trial, there's a possibility that I may have to testify. If you guys remember during that whole situation, the brick-faced woman actually threatened Daphne, posted it publicly to her Instagram. So they may have to subpoena celebrity podcast to come up and to give a statement. So let's hope that she takes the plea deal. Stay tuned. So recently, this lovely young woman went up to the MTandR show where they conduct group discussions. She went up on there to just have a regular conversation regarding pop culture topics today. So the conversation initially starts out on this TikTok viral thing of 50-50 relationships, but then it goes extremely downhill from then. And the reason I want to go over that is that it continues to show the type of behavior or demeanor that young men today should stay 1,000 feet from. So listen up, pay attention, and let's get active. Without further ado. So Brickaholic is right down here on the lower left, and she has now entered into the 50-50 conversation.
I think that we also have to like think about whether it's a wife or a girlfriend, all of the unpaid labor that comes with having a woman in the house. You know, I'm you know, I've been married before. I'm single now. But if I had the opportunity to be a man, I would definitely pay all the rent because I know now I'm getting meals. Now I'm getting a clean house. Think about it. If you paid for a cleaner and you paid for a chef and you paid for a nanny and you paid for a therapist and you paid for that, that's far more than paying the bills.
So my God,
unpaid labor is unpaid labor. I'm just thinking and then I think it all depends on what the woman is doing in the household. But if a woman is there for you, doing the therapy, cooking the food, taking care of your kids, washing the clothes, doing all that stuff, that would cost you probably more than your whole income.
So Rhoda, so
now you get a house to live in as well.
Rhoda, this is a house that you got to build brick by brick, okay? You just don't get it because you here. All right, that's why I asked, how long do you wait before you hit that special Gok 3000? I feel like every dude should make a woman wait a
personally, I wouldn't date a man that's waiting for me to do something sexually for him to reward me in any kind of way. I wouldn't date that. I wouldn't do that. And I will say this, okay?
If someone was to ask me the unique question of how would Roda Osman answer this 50-50 question, I would have said exactly the things, right? Because her position only comes from the benefit of a man. And the fact is that the gentleman 2K hit her with the brick by brick joke. So you already know what's about to turn up right now. But regarding 50-50, 70% of couples split household bills 50-50 when both partners earn relatively the same amount or when one partner earns just a little bit more than the other. And looking at the cost to buy average goods today on top of the current inflation rate, 50-50 split is a good approach for couples who earn about the same. If you're going to rely on one person's salary, well, you might be in the hood as opposed to a middle income household. But her talking points completely forgo reality today to benefit the woman while not benefiting the man, which is what I expected from her. But Let's get in there.
So me, I've been on my own since I was 16. I've been able to pay bills my whole entire life. I can pay bills by myself. To me, there's no incentive for me to live with a man if he's not paying the bills. I can take care of 100% on my own. But if I'm going to live with a man now, if you want me to pay, if you want a roommate, homie, just say that.
Rhoda, now hold on.
You know?
Hear me out, because a couple years back, I was watching this woman. She got hit with a brick, and she was saying she need protection. So if you had a man, he probably wasn't paying rent, but he had protection for you. So I
think you're really trying to be funny. I think you're really trying to be funny, and I think that you try. How are you trying to be funny? I know exactly. I don't know why you would bring up something that happened a year ago to me, and and this is not even the topic. But if you want to talk about that, we can talk about that. We can talk about that, but I don't want to come and take over 10 minutes. But I think that making jokes and laughs about violence is just not funny. It's never going to be funny. It's never a place for. There's never a place for that.
That had to happen first.
Right, it had to happen. It didn't happen.
What does a man in my household paying bills have anything to do with a violent random man on the street? Whether I have a husband paying my rent or not, every woman is susceptible to be around a violent man. Those two, if you're going to have a conversation, you're going to have to be cohesive, and you're going to have to learn how to follow the conversation. But if you can't do that, you're going from sex, and now you're going to violence. And maybe sex and violence are the only two things that you're able to think about.
You think I have somebody I love in the bricks, in the projects? You think I'm gonna have my girl in the bricks?
Yeah, that's 3 different brick jokes. He's on a roll. But what Brickalicious down here is failing to understand is that, I agree with her to a degree, bringing up assault in light of, but it didn't happen, baby girl. Not the way that you explained it. You had far more to do within the situation than what you told investigators. And the investigator that was on the case agrees with me.
Again, I cannot follow somebody who has trouble with cohesive sentences. You went from sex to a scandal to protection, and now you're talking about the projects.
I'm trying
to try to stay on topic, honey, and then I will try to follow you.
So I have a question, 2K. 2K
from CTE.
2K, to take it back, do you think that men should step up more regarding pain? Huh?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, every man should step in the way of a woman that's getting a brick thrown in front of her.
Paying mortgages.
Paying mortgages.
Yes, the title.
The thing is, I think that you're trying to get a moment off of something that was very violent, and also I think you think that you're funny, but you're not. And I also think that you can hurt my feelings, sweetheart. What I've dealt with, you cannot hurt my feelings with these basic lame jokes. These are lame jokes, and they're pathetic. And you're like getting off the topic, and you're wasting the productivity level here. I'm gonna tell you something, honey. I got hit by a brick. I got globally brutalized. I got criminalized. And guess what? I'm still here looking better than you and doing better than you and still intellectual and still fine. Got hit with the head and still fine. I'm not struggling with cohesiveness. Let me tell you something. You cannot hurt my feelings. So that's what you're trying to do. Stop, because you can't. All you do is remind me how strong I am and how resilient I am and how dope I am. But thank you for that reminder, because today I forgot that I was a bad bitch. Still, thank you for the reminder that I'm a bad bitch and that I constantly survive men like you. It's not funny. You have sisters, you have daughters, I'm pretty sure you have daughters, because you look like you don't use a condom or ever heard of one. So let me tell you something. I have survived that shit. That was my trauma, and I'm still dealing with it. And I survived it, and I'm fine, and I'm better. But your little lame ass jokes are pathetic, and they're not hitting, honey. They're not hitting. You think you're eating, but you ate too much. That's why you look like that. You ate too much food, and you should have been reading a book, and then maybe you could have ate with talking shit to me. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're trying to hurt my feelings, baby, it's not gonna work. Every time a lame ass nigga talks about this kind of shit, all it does is remind me that I'm a dope ass, resilient, standing on business queen. And you're not gonna hurt my feelings. But you can look like a lame ass nigga, keep talking about this, or you can try to sit down and have a productive conversation with the other people in this room and respect everybody's time. Thank you.
That ain't finna go nowhere over here.
Okay.
That ain't gonna go nowhere over here. Because I seen on microwave. No, hold on, Q. I seen on microwave before this live started. She had little shit all on.
Oh yeah, I like to eat. I might have a bite or two. But guess what? I can also read. And read.
Brick wall emojis down into the chat. But I want you guys to ask yourself something. Her current interaction with this man right here, do you think that the way that she just snapped back is just something that she's just doing right here within this conversation? Or is this a component of her behavior? That her being within her wounded masculine, no degree of femininity, the way how she's so argumentative, confrontational, standing on her ego as if being loud is by some stretch means an imagination of her being correct. Do you think that that's just something she's just doing here? No, there's no way. She thinks that because of whatever trauma that she's dealt with men within her life, she always has to get back on behalf of women or through her trauma to these particular men. So for her, meeting the conversation with fire is normal, but she's standing on a lie and being strong within it. But anyway, the conversation kind of goes dead here for a couple of seconds, but then Anton comes in and begins to ask her some follow-up questions to learn more.
If you want to talk to me about that situation, honey, I have all the evidence. I didn't lie about shit. That's a whole fucking, the lie is the fucking men who sold your ass into slavery. They lied. They lied. But anyways, don't worry. Y'all gonna make me some money. Y'all gonna make a bitch retired rich.
We already made you money. How much did you get from the scandal?
I got $0 from that, honey. No, zero. You don't have the information. You should stop talking about things that you don't have the information for. You didn't get no money. I didn't lie. Honey, you're reading headlines. You're reading headlines from bloggers who are exploiting me. And you're acting like the police have never, ever got it wrong. The police have always fucking charged the right people. Shit, baby, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have the information. You don't know what you're talking about. You're reading the headlines. You're pandering to other misogynist men, and you're pathetic right now. Baby, like I said, you're not on my level. You want, honey, you don't know what you're talking about. Get the facts, the books are out there. If you want to know the truth, it's out there. I didn't come here for this. I didn't come here to talk to ladies who don't know what's going on.
Hold on.
And like I said, you don't stress me out.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Is it Ro? Can I call you Ro?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that most men are misogynistic?
I think most people are misogynistic, women and men included, because we're all socialized to be that way. In this country, especially in America or Western countries, we are all socialized to be anti-Black and to be misogynist. Women have to do the work, just like men, to decolonize and even women have to do the work to do anti-misogyny work, to become a girl's girl, to decenter, to care about women.
What makes us misogynistic in your opinion?
I think, like I said, I think we're socialized to be that way. Everything in our country, we're constantly being fed things that are anti-women.
No, I mean, like, not according to what you think is being socialized, but as far as like
the criteria.
Like, what makes me misogynistic? Yeah. I know that misogyny in a lot of people's instances are attached to masculinity, right?
Yeah.
I see terms thrown out like toxic masculinity, that type of stuff.
I really appreciate Anton's question here, because you can't just throw out a term nowadays, because so many people have different definitions of what exactly that term means. So she has a history of utilizing weaponized terms in order to get people to rally on her side. So I think that it's important that if you're going to say terms like that, and in fact say that both men and women are suffering under this patriarchal regime where misogyny is just normal, common speak and tone, then I think she should explain from her perspective the criteria or examples of misogyny.
What would make a person misogynistic, and like, as far as like, give me an example. What would that look like in 2024?
Great question.
2025.
I don't think misogyny has a look. I think it's an ideology, right?
Give an example.
It's a thought process. It's the lens that you see the world in. And if you see the world in a lens where you think that women don't, if you're following the Western world and how you're going to see it, you're going to be misogynist. Even me, myself, as a person who has a doctorate in women and gender studies, when I was in the program, thinking that I was already, like, I thought I was decolonized.
Doctorates? Hold on. Yeah, let her cook. Go ahead.
I thought that when I entered that space, I was 28 years old, and I really thought I've been a girl's girl forever. I've always had women's back. I advocate for women. I advocate for Black people. But when I started reading those books and stuff like that, there was work that I had to do to undo stuff. I didn't realize that there was stuff that I was still doing that's participating in misogyny. And I think that there's still work to do. I think it's a constant reflexivity, a constant looking at yourself in the way that you're handling things. I just like a couple of months ago, a black woman on TikTok had said something about me, and I made a video in response to her. And that was misogyny because I didn't make no video responses for knuckleheads like him.
What did she
because
say?
I didn't make because knuckleheads like this guy have been bothering me forever, and I've never made a response video.
No.
So what she's saying is that because she responded to a woman that had an opinion regarding her ridiculous brick situation, that is misogyny. That's your example, ma'am. You responded to a woman talking about your ridiculous situation, and you didn't respond to a man, and because of that, you have an internal hate for women. So not only is this woman a mental health patient that escaped from Arkham Asylum, but then also she underpins her understanding of weaponized terms such as misogyny with a women's study PhD. And it makes me think, what are the things that she read within that continued to supplant her mental health illness? So within the combination of her liberal ass PhD from a feminist institution, on top of whatever trauma that she's suffered, on top of her mental health issues, on top of her confrontational aggression, she now thinks that her responding to a woman is a part of misogyny. Hilarious.
Hold on, Ro. Hold on, 2K. Hold on, 2K.
Is he a comedian? Because if he is, I just think that he should just choose better subjects.
Focus on me for 1 second.
Okay, I'm sorry. What I was saying is so here's a distinction. There were so many men who were harassing me constantly, and I never felt the need to make any response videos for them. But as soon as it was a black woman, I did it. And I thought, the way that I told myself, because we always tell ourselves lies, right? When we're doing things, we don't want to be honest. I told myself, oh, I'm doing this because she's a black woman and I'm protecting other black women. So I'm mad at her for this. But when I started to do the internal work, I was like, why do I feel more comfortable responding to her and not him?
Do you think that there's a level of accountability? But hold on, but do you think that there's a level of accountability on your part, and that it's not that most guys are misogynistic, but there's a lot of guys that are getting out of prison every single day because of being accused of something that they didn't do, because it's a whole agenda behind believe all women by default and not because they can actually prove that you did anything to them.
Correct.
And so do you think that it's valid for men to question everything the same way that we question each other, right? I don't by default believe anything that anybody says, but if somebody if somebody makes an accusation, do you think that those guys are misogynistic because they hold you accountable? Because we've advocated as a society, as a culture, for women to be equal. So how do we justify the misogynistic label when people hold you accountable?
Okay, so that was very loaded. So let me try to break it down because I don't want to just overthink. So here's one. No, holding somebody accountable is not misogyny. And but I do believe that there might be an agenda to believe all women, but it's never been acted out. It might be a theory that people came up with. It might even be an agenda. If you want to say, I don't think it's an agenda, it might be all of those things, but it's never been practiced. We don't believe women.
You don't think so? Oh, so Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard wasn't a thing? Oh, so Jonathan Majors, as he ran away from that small white woman, just wasn't a thing before losing all of his jobs, all of his gigs, including his agency? There's countless examples when it comes to public figures. So you're telling me that for non-public figures, the general populace, this doesn't happen either? And in fact, within your situation, most people, 99% of people, believed your stupid story. Up and until including giving you $40,000 worth of donations if it wasn't until truth seekers that exposed the BS. How many black men had to face the repercussions or the consequences of your story the next day when interacting within public environments? Black men as a whole, especially on the internet, were chastised for not protecting black women, for not believing black women. So this idea that it doesn't happen is absolutely not true.
So no, we don't. We still don't believe women, and we certainly don't believe black women. And I think it's very important to understand that black women, we deal with everything that black men deal with, and then on top of that, we deal with misogyny. So when you say that people are accusing you guys of things, people accuse things of us. Black women walk down the street and people be like, "Oh, she did this," and everybody believes it. So we also deal with the accusations from people. So hold on. Black women, no, white women can carry us anytime. Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on, let me finish, darling. Okay. So that's one thing. Black women are always susceptible to also be accused of things, and without anybody believing them. And two, the system hates all of us. So me as a black woman, I'm gonna tell you something about me. Yeah, the system, there's police and all of that. Me as a black woman, when I go to the police, they don't believe me, and they certainly don't see me as a person that deserves protection. So I'm always going to have a higher level of scrutiny already from the police. So now if my people hold me down with a whole higher level of scrutiny, that's fine. But there's a difference between holding somebody accountable and then also choosing not to believe them because you're trying to protect an image. Most people were not worried about trying to find out the truth. They were trying to conceal the truth. Whether it was true or not, they didn't want it to come out because they were worried about how that would affect black men.
You're making it personal back to
okay, so I'm saying, yeah, because you guys brought it up and nobody was talking about that.
It's not you guys. I'm not a monolith. I'm my own individual.
Here's my personal. This is what I would do. So guess what? Okay, how about let's make it general. If somebody comes out right now, any one of these women or men, I don't care, because I don't even think about gender that way. If anybody comes out right now and says, so-and-so did this to me, what I think is the most practical thing for the society that we live in right now is just to believe the person. Why? Hold on. Let me tell you why. You want to hear why I think that?
Please.
The reason why I think that is because if I decide, no, I don't believe you, and now I'm all asking all these questions, guess what? Now the truth is much more muddier because everybody's putting in a theory and all that. Hold on, listen. You're not letting me finish a complete thought. I'm trying to finish a complete thought. No, hold on.
No, listen. Let me tell you what's wrong with your argument.
I didn't get to finish. I didn't make the argument yet. Let me just finish it. Now, if we allow the person, yes, I am going to land it, please. You threw a lot of questions at me. I'm trying to answer one. Let me answer this one. Okay. So now if we let this person speak and we all just be quiet and be like, okay, that's what your story is, and we be quiet. We allow them to keep speaking and keep talking without interruption. And that if they're lying, they will hang themselves. We will give them enough rope to hang themselves because we're allowed. If you let a liar lie, a liar will expose themselves because you're going to be like, okay, what's the more details? Give us more details. And we will be able to catch them. But we don't do that. Somebody says.
It's funny that she says this because ironically, if it wasn't for her continuing to talk about the situation, then we would have had less information in determining that her story didn't add up.
This happened to me. We're like, liar.
This is the problem. This is the problem.
They have believed you.
Y'all have been incentivized to lie.
Who's y'all?
Women.
Because black women don't get to participate in that. Black women don't have. Black women don't.
There are men every single day, and you really need to look up the statistics with regard to.
No, I actually know. I have a woman in gender studies. I know this. That
you didn't hear what I was about to say. You didn't hear what I was about to say.
Black women don't have that.
You didn't hear what I was about to say.
Sure.
You really need to look up the statistics with regard to the Innocence Project. And with regard to the Innocence Project, there are men every single day that either cop out or they're just now being freed because the technology that we have today has just caught up to where we can actually test to realize that there are a lot of people that were incentivized to lie on men, whether it be because, like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. And I always like to cite this example because this is the antithesis of what you're preaching. The woman that accused the Duke lacrosse team of raping him. Mm-hmm. She was lying. She lied beautifully. And here's the worst part about it. Nobody came back and apologized to the lacrosse team.
Yeah.
And all of those guys' reputations were ruined. They got kicked out of school. It's men that get arrested, removed from their job because they have no retribution.
Yeah.
Nobody ever gives the consequences to these people that are lying.
No.
And it doesn't mean that it's not things that happen to people. But I don't like it when people then generalize and say to believe all women, because that would mean to automatically demonize somebody else. Because
no, we don't. We can.
The justice system is supposed to work is that it's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But when you say believe all women, if women was believable, we wouldn't have to preach it.
This is the website of the Innocence Project in case you guys are interested. The Innocence Project works to free the innocent, prevent wrongful convictions, and create fair, compassionate, and equitable systems of justice for everybody. Our work is guided by science and grounded in anti-racism. We use DNA and other scientific advancements to prove innocence, and we are committed to helping each person we represent to rebuild their life post-release, with some examples of some folks that they've exonerated. I'll leave a link to the Innocence Project logic down below, but Anton's point remains true. I think that those that lie within their accusations, they should get the exact same jail term as a consequence if their lie is proven.
That's a fact.
We wouldn't have to preach it.
But how come?
I see women lie every single day. Every day. People.
I see men lie every single day.
People lie.
People
but
lie.
I am never going to give.
Okay, so what space do you create for a victim? What space do you create for a victim? So what do you think a victim should? What can a victim do? Because guess what? I said that I got hit. Everybody called me a liar, and guess what? That man said he got hit, and I'm still being called a liar.
Listen.
He hit me on 3 different platforms.
Listen.
So I'm just saying, what do you do about the people? Because it was brought up.
Yeah, he said that he was defending himself. But she takes the context of the situation completely out of it because they proved on security camera that she was the aggressor.
I didn't bring it up. I don't talk about that. I don't talk about that.
Bringing up this situation, and I'm telling you,
it was brought up.
No, I didn't bring it up. I'm talking to you. That he is a different person. I didn't bring that up. You keep bringing it up in order to justify your argument.
Do you have a sister or a daughter?
I got 3 brothers, and I have 1 daughter.
Okay. I also will agree. Here's my thing. As a person who has experience, it's hard not to speak from experience. I do think that when women are, I do think that there's a way. I think that especially a Black woman should never go to social media. If you've been assaulted, don't ever go to social media. Never, ever, ever do that. I totally agree with that. Like,
yeah, if you're lying, don't ever do that.
The system doesn't advocate for women too. Like, if as a Black woman walked into a police station
I think that you are bitter and you are scorned.
I'm not bitter and I'm not scorned. I am deeply heartbroken. I'm deeply heartbroken because what happened to me was brutal, and to happen to your own community, it was brutal. Because guess what? I'm a person who has advocated for our Black community forever. I've been to all the protests.
I think that
everything I've done around.
You need to do some self-searching.
You don't know me, sweetheart, and you don't know what I'm trying to do. That was a brutal thing that I went through, and this guy laughed about it.
Offended at everything. You keep introducing yourself into the conversation in your own personal situation. So when I then speak to it, then that makes it valid. I never asked you your personal situation. I was speaking.
He brought it up. I don't care what you're negating the fact that I came here prepared to have an adult conversation about the topic that was at hand.
The reason why you get the type of energy that you get.
For me not to react to my trauma is crazy. First of all, I have done a lot of stuff.
I don't care about your trauma.
I can tell that you don't care.
I don't care about your trauma. And what you don't.
I can tell you don't care.
Hold on.
I can tell you don't care.
Get back to it, y'all. I promise.
But we're not going to act like I came here to have a conversation about the topic that you guys want to have and to add an intellectual level. I don't have a problem. You don't know what problems I have. You don't know me.
I know it because I'm paying attention to what you interacting with me right now.
She brings
I'm speaking on what my personal interaction with you in this short amount of time is.
What you're negating was that somebody. Okay, so let me talk about the worst thing that ever happened to you. Laugh about it, and then when you react to it, be like, "Oh, you know what? This is the problem that you have. You're negating what he did." Okay, I can tell that you don't care. I can tell you don't care.
Bringing it up.
I didn't bring it up. He brought it up. And now that you bring it up, you can't act like it didn't happen.
I don't care about what the you think about your situation. If you want to address that with him separately, offline,
I don't think that you or him have the range to have that conversation with me.
You better have it with you right now.
You don't need no range for the paperwork.
Stop 2K. Stop 2K. Give me 1 second. Your problem, and give me a second. You
don't know what my problems are. You have no idea
You're free to respond. I'm trying not to mute you because I want to make sure that we had this conversation. You introduced yourself into the conversation with me. You keep introducing your own personal situation when I was talking in general. Your problem, and this is the problem of a lot of women that's out here, is that you bring this type of energy on you. I know women that ain't never had a problem with a man in their life. I know women that ain't never been assaulted. I know women that ain't never had.
So now you're saying that I bring that kind of energy to myself.
Stop. Yes. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to speak, but I keep trying to tell you that your femininity is your secret weapon. That's the thing that you have as a trump card. You talk too much. You too aggressive. You masculine. It ain't that we
I'm masculine.
We can identify when a woman want to act like a man, and we treat you as such.
No, I do not. First of all, the men I'm in community with,
if you want to have that type of energy, like this, I gotta mute you because you're not gonna keep interrupting me. If you gonna have that type of energy, cool. Listen, ladies, let them run. Let them run.
Could we slow clap?
Hold on, and I just want to say this. Damn! I want to say this really quickly because I never, ever, and it ain't a person up here that could say that I was offensive. It ain't a person up here that could say I called her out of her name. It ain't a person up here that could say that I said anything negative to her whatsoever. She introduced herself into this conversation. She got met with aggression. And I would implore every guy to stand 10 toes down and stop letting these chicks bully you just because she a woman.
I think Anton was spot on at the end of this conversation in summarizing what was going on. I think everybody was essentially talking to a brick wall. And I will say it is cathartic watching her rage quit after being confronted for her lies. But yes, she's operating from her wounded masculine. One thing that she said that I thought was interesting is that there's no men around her in reality that speak to her in that manner. And to that I say, of course, because men that are worth their weight in salt, masculine in nature, that stand up for women that deserve protection, wouldn't want to be 1,000 feet next to you. So it makes sense that you surround yourself with the type of men that allow your behavior to persist. Last comment. For all of the ladies that are down up into the chat right now, all of the MTRers, you must understand that when women like this go viral for lying like this, she is a representation for all of you. This is why it's so important that bad behavior in general, and no matter if it's man, woman, what have you, but bad behavior in general needs to be called out. And people need to be on the side of accountability, of integrity, of honesty, instead of letting the bitter as well as the angry control the narrative. Shout out to the entire cast over there. I'll leave a link to the full live stream down in the comment box down below so you guys can go and take a look. It actually went on for another 2.5 hours. And I think there was a point in there that the bricketing comes back into the chat room and then eventually leaves shortly thereafter. So link down in the description in case you guys want to review the entire thing. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Hopefully the comment section is lit up with brick emojis. Guys, let me know what you think about the particular content that I have for you here today. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you soon. Until next time, YouTube, peace.